Hello everybody and welcome back to the Scrumptious Sandwich Show. I am the host Andrew Brown of this culinary feast, and I want to thank everybody who has watched us all the way through season 1. If this is your first time here, please do not forget, subscribe to the channel, like the video below, and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when new videos go live on our channel. We just finished up with our first season and it was a great success. There's so many good things. So happy with how it turned out. But in those videos, I was a little bit more zen than I am normally in real life. But today we are gonna be bringing the energy. I'm gonna be trying out some new looks, some new video ideas. We're gonna see how you guys like it here. So here's some bonus content just for y'all to hold you over until we get to season 2. So what we're gonna be making today is delicious Carolina caviar. That is right, pimento cheese sandwiches, everybody. This is a Southern staple. It is so important to where I grew up in the South, in the US, and it is also so good, and I'm gonna be basing it on something that's near and dear to my heart, and that's my mom's own recipe for this. I'm gonna be adding a few extra splashes, making my own sandwich. Gonna be trying out something original today, just seeing what you guys like. So, without further ado, let's get right into that now. All right, so one of the reasons that I first wanted to make this channel is to delve into the history behind some of these sandwiches, because I think it's just so cool how important food plays into our own cultures and plays into our own backgrounds and plays into how we shaped our life. So I was very interested into diving into some of those things by searching around the world for different cultures. But today, I'm actually gonna dive into something that's more from where I grew up, a very popular treat from the Southern US called pimento cheese. Now, it's sort of like a spread, like a dip kind of a thing, and it's used in many, many different recipes, but today I'm going to be using it to make a delicious original sandwich creation. Let's get into the history behind where pimento cheese actually came from. Now, it's a staple in the Southern US. Ever since at least the early 1900s, recipes began popping up in popular publications of the time, and it was known as being kind of like a cheaper food, very easy to get because you don't need a whole lot of things and you can just throw it all together. It's very, very popular, especially in Georgia and the Carolinas where I am from. It's one of the classics that's served at the Masters tournament every year in Augusta, Georgia. Actually, so much so that one year when they changed the pimento cheese recipe in 2013, I believe? Yeah. 2013? Yeah. They changed it in 2013, and people were mad. They rioted, they went crazy, they burned the entire golf course to the ground, and they never went back there again. That last part was a lie. They didn't burn the golf course to the ground, but people were really, really pissed off. And it's also a popular topping on hot dogs and hamburgers at the classic Varsity restaurant, which is a well-known staple in Atlanta. And before I go any further, I just have to acknowledge again, thank you so much, Mom, for this amazing recipe. One more thing to know is traditionally, this recipe was originally made with a meat grinder. So you would take a meat grinder, clamp it right to the side of your thing, shove these things in, and you'd have to crank it with the old hand-powered energy. But today, I'm gonna be using my brand new food processor. So that's what the that is what the miracles of modern technology can afford to us. All right, so now I'm gonna break down what exactly is gonna go into my sandwich today before I start preparing it. The pimento cheese recipe itself is actually very simple. All that the one that my mom provided me has is some cheddar cheese, cream cheese, mayo, and of course, the luscious pimentos themselves. Oh, and how could I forget? Some garlic and onion powder. Gotta have spices. Spice your food, people. Don't be heathens. But I am gonna add a few of my own little touches just to give it some extra punch of flavor. I'm also gonna include some kosher dill pickles and some Monterey Jack cheese to give us a little bit of variety in exactly what we got here are our pimentos. Now, these are actually whole ones. They normally come diced often, and we are gonna get into, oh, I forgot about one of the best parts. Another major upgrade. That's right, baby. I got a real chef's knife now. Shout out to you, Brandon, my brother. He was getting very, very nervous apparently every time he watched me cut things, which I can understand. Those IKEA knives just were not cutting it. So we've got the real deal now. I'm happy to have it. Hopefully this will make our journey that much better. Without further ado, I'm gonna get into dicing up some of these pimentos real quick. See you in the flip. You know, you would not believe how hard it was for me to find some of these pimento peppers here in Vancouver. I had to go all over the place. I was searching many, many different grocery stores. If you're in the US, you normally will find them in a can. They come dried or preserved in some oils in a can, usually already pre-diced. I happen to actually find some whole ones here. As you can see, they're kind of heart-shaped, they're red. There's sometimes called cherry peppers as well. They're not hot like most chili peppers are. They're actually quite sweet. And so I'm just gonna take them up and dice them here. You don't wanna get them too cut down, but just enough to give your food processor a little bit of an easier time. Now, some more fun facts about pimentos. If you didn't already know, if you've ever had a stuffed green olive that had that little red dot, that little red smidge right in the middle, it's these guys right here. Fun fact, bet you didn't know that. Like I said, they have one of the lowest Scoville ratings of all peppers. They're very sweet. It's a very, very different taste than most other chili peppers that I've ever experienced before. You know, I actually learned another part that I think may have made this process even more difficult for me is that pimiento in Spanish, and I believe in Portuguese as well. Is that right, Wallace? Or is that, it means like pepper?
Pepper, yeah.
Yeah, like general pepper.
Portuguese is pimenta.
Pimenta. See, there we go. So variations are like all around there, can just mean any general kind of pepper. But again, in the US, they took these very specific peppers and bastardized it and just made the name pimento to be for these peppers, which is about the most US thing I could ever explain in my life. Is just, you know, we like to borrow. We're borrowers. We like to, you know, show and improve and make our own version of it, you know. So, to each his own. But I'm just gonna get to dicing these up a little bit and then we can move on to our next step. All right, now that we've got our pimentos all cut up and diced here, we're gonna do the same thing, but with our pickles. And, well, pickles here, if you're actually overseas somewhere like in Europe or something like that, you may know it as a gherkin. Those also do denote a certain type of pickle that is disgusting and I hate. But we are now today gonna be using some classic kosher dill pickles. Now, something that I actually learned in the making of this is that just because it says that it's a kosher dill pickle does not necessarily mean that it is actually kosher. See, that originally came from Jewish pickle makers in New York who did make them kosher style, but they added healthy heapings of dill and garlic into the original pickling recipe, which is like one of the oldest recipes on the face of the earth. And it just adds such a great boost of flavor and deliciousness to it. But being kosher actually denotes a type of process of how it is made. And those pickle people do, but some of the new, bigger, more established pickle brands don't necessarily always make it kosher style, but they stick to that kosher dill pickle recipe. So that's why they're called the kosher dill pickles. So, fun fact, you didn't know that before? You know, I really don't understand why anyone would do anything other than dill pickles. I already mentioned earlier, but I'm not a huge gherkin fan. I'm like bread and butter. They're weird. I don't know. What do you guys think? Are you big pickle fans? What is your favorite? You know, sound off below. Are you like me? You love those good dills? Because if you aren't, I don't want to hear from you. All right? Watch your step, kid. Watch your step, kid. All right, now that we've got those things all sliced up, we're gonna get into grating our cheese that gives it the name. This is some cheddar cheese, straight out of England. I don't know if that's actually true, but that is where cheddar cheese originated. So more fun facts for your brain coming at you live and direct always. Just one important note, I also have Monterey Jack cheese just to give it some little extra flavors and spices. However much cheddar cheese you use, just use half that amount of Monterey Jack. And that'll be the good, proper mixture that you want to have to get the flavors that you're trying to go for here. So I'm just gonna start grating away. This is gonna take a little while, so we'll be back to you in a minute. All right, now we've got all our cheese grated together, and as much fun as I love to have that, I had to spare you guys the hassle of having to watch me do all that stuff. But one little fun fact I do want to mention, when you put your shredded cheese in together, if you throw some flour in with it, it'll actually keep the individual strands from starting to clump together, which is always good for certain recipes. If you're doing like nachos or something like that. If you're working on other things, you can always sit aside. So, you know, little fun fact for the day. But now we are getting into the moment of truth. All we gotta do now is take our ingredients, throw them into our handy dandy processor, and get to processing away. So I'm gonna start off with our cheese. Get a camera facing. Always gotta know your angles, isn't that right? And make sure you get it clean. Then come in with the dill pickles. Throw that in there. Come in with the pimentos. Throw those in there. I'm gonna cut about a quarter of your block of cream cheese, roughly about 4 or 5 ounces. Boom, right in there. Then come technical difficulties. Okay, we're back now. Got the mayo. Throwing that all in there. Need a little bit more. Yeah, that's not quite enough. Make sure you scrape the edges. Get your money's worth out of all that. I'm sorry, Wallace, I can tell you're just sitting back there like, I don't know why I'm a part of this show. I'm questioning everything I've ever done in my life before. Meanwhile, my brother-in-law Bert is somewhere crying because he would drink that mayo straight out of the bottle, like the sick he is. All right, now that we've got everything in here, we're gonna go ahead and process it all together. I'll meet y'all back here once I got that ready to go. Okay, now we're getting into the crucial part and put all of the delicious ingredients from the pimento cheese into its blender right here, and I'm gonna process it real quick. Now, something you should note real quick is that you don't want to puree this. You don't want this to just be a paste. You want to just blend it up enough so that everybody's familiar, but still you want a little bit of those chunks still left because that'll give the good consistency that you want. So without further ado, I'm gonna get into that. Micah, I'm so sorry for what's about to happen.
Hands are off.
All right. All right, now we have our delicious pimento cheese all blended together here, ready to go for when we finally get to the sandwich. We just got one more crucial little step left because oftentimes people do just eat just pimento cheese sandwiches, but I gotta add a little bit of spice and flavor or something like that today, just to, you know, up the game because always trying to do better. So our good friends again at Pasture to Plate, you know where to go. We'll get all those links down in the description, but they provided me with some delicious bacon here today. So I'm gonna be cooking that up here, adding a few little tomatoes for some extra zest and spice. So let me get to creating that right now, and then we will come back for the final assembly of the sandwich. My mouth is already watering. I've got a bunch of angry hyenas looking all around me, ready to do this. So without further ado, we're gonna get to cooking. And also some gluten-free bread from an unnamed bakery in East Van, who could eventually be named if they would respond back to my emails sometime. But this should be pretty good, so I'm happy to get into it. Now, just got done cooking some bacon, sliced up some of the tomatoes. Now we enter into the best phase of the sandwich making process. That's right. We're gonna assemble it all together here. So, I'm gonna take my bread, toasted by the way. If you eat cold bread again, you're weird, I don't know. Always toast your bread. A lot of times pimento cheese sandwiches are untoasted, but just toast your bread. Come on, people. I don't know. You're gonna start with a bed of tomatoes. So give it a nice crisp, a nice you know, little pop and zhuzh. I'm gonna take some of that bacon, lay it right on down there. Then the piece de resistance. I'm gonna come in here, scoop up a good hearty hunk of my pimento cheese right on top of there. Without further ado, we're going right for it. This one's for you, Mom. I love you. I don't even care about how messy I know my face is right now. Oh my God, that is so good. The dill and the pickle, oh, with the bacon. We gotta get out of here. I'm gonna wrap this up because everywhere we're about to have a royal rumble for who gets the next sandwich here real quick. Thank you all again for tuning in to this wonderful episode of the Scrumptious Sandwich Show. I just really appreciate your support, sticking with us. Please, again, do not forget, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you'll know when we go live with new episodes. Follow us on all our socials as well. Those links will be down in the description. Let us know too, I wanted to try out some new things, try out some new possibilities for directions we could go in the future. If you like me making original content like this, building my own sandwiches, please let us know. If you want to see me try out more family recipes, please let us know. I want this to be an enjoyable experience for us all. So tag along for more, and until next time, stay scrumptious, y'all.